within the processing that we have done by fine grinding, by juicing, by drying in the sensitive process that we do, we provide these fresh raw ingredients to you in a form that is much more assimilatable by your body, and you will get more out of it than what the average person gets out of trying to chew and consume. Now understand that we've also provided a variety of here that is as and more essential than quantity within these ingredients. Now not only have we provided the variety, we have also provided the quantity. Once you can provide your body the variety, the quality, and the quantity as you can get within the feast, that is designed and formulated so that it tastes delicious, now you can conveniently and cost effectively provide your body high quality, high variety, and high quantity of the best form of nutrition that you could ever put into your body. Now, understanding the base of what we have here within the feast, we have that available in different forms. We have it within 300 gram powder, within 1200 gram powder, within 300 count capsules, and even more phenomenally, we now provide it to you in the form of supercharged as 300 gram, 1200 gram, or 300 count capsules. If you have the opportunity, try the samples, and you'll be looking to consume the feast on a regular basis so that you can enjoy the life and vitality and quality of life that we're all looking for.
Now that you've heard some exciting information from Yuri regarding the feast, let's move on and listen to some questions and answers. Does the feast contain any preservatives, additives, or any kind of synthetics?
That's one of the benefits that you can get from the feast. Unlike a lot of other products, there's no pasteurization, there's no preservatives, there's no forms of isolated or synthetic components to the feast.
What makes the feast so nutrient dense and rich compared to other products?
Well, what makes it nutrient rich obviously starts first of all with the nutrient rich, raw, fresh fruits and vegetables, seeds, nuts, and grains sprouted that we use within the feast. But what's essential is that if we're going to get the nutrient density and the benefits of that live form of nutrition to our bodies, it has to be processed properly to preserve that in a concentrate to be consumed as a whole food supplement. And that is where we differ substantially and provide something that is very unique and very beneficial. Because of our proprietary low temperature drying process, we're able to take the fresh produce, grind it, juice it, dry those juices to powder within 30 seconds and keeping the product temperature below 100 degrees Fahrenheit. This is what allows us to preserve the integrity of the fresh raw produce so that we can actually know that we're putting the nutritional components that we're looking to get into our bodies from the fresh produce through the Yuri Feast product.
Comparing the feast to functional beverages or so-called fad juices or liquids and so on, how do we really compare?
Well, as you look at the health beverages or functional beverages or juiced liquid forms of whole food nutrition, typically they're unfortunately concentrated. They have the preservatives in there, which unfortunately are not nutritious to the body. They can create additional problems in the system. And typically they're focused on one or two ingredients as the base of trying to provide the body the forms of nutrition it needs. So, one, they're not containing the variety of nutrition that's necessary from whole foods because they don't have the variety of whole food ingredients themselves in there. And then additionally to that, due to the pasteurization, as we all understand, cooking our foods not only degrades and reduces the nutritional values, it changes the chemistry of what's there so it's less effective within our system. And another thing that people need to understand and realize is that when you take fresh fruits and you cook and pasteurize them, they no longer become alkalizing to the body. They can actually be acidic and produce negative side effects within the system.
How does pureed concentrates or other concentrate forms of juices compare to the powders utilized within the feast?
There's a huge difference. we're taking fresh produce, juicing that, and drying that to a powder so that we have the ultimate stability in the chemistry of the nutritive compounds in there. Whenever you have purees or juice concentrates, unfortunately they're pasteurized to create stability, but as long as they're in liquid form, there is still ongoing nutritional degradation even after the pasteurization. So the powders that we have provide the optimal form of preservation and storage of fresh juices. Within the feast, we have those powders preserved in that process so that a person can have the convenience of getting the nutritional values and integrity of the fresh produce through that process.
We often compare your typical vitamin mineral complex or blend as something synthetic and really not something very good for you. How do you compare that to the feast?
Well, probably the better question is, why is taking our form of the whole food nutritional powders that we have within the feast so much better than taking any form of a multivitamin mineral supplement? It comes from the understanding that our body needs literally hundreds and thousands of nutritive compounds on a daily basis. We have found through science that such components as calcium are not very assimilatable and usable within the system unless it has synergistic compounds with it, such as magnesium, zinc, vitamin C, vitamin D. Now, even though we can try to synergistically formulate those from those isolated minerals, there are still many other nutritional compounds lacking to increase the effectiveness and assimilation of those ingredients within the body. When you get whole food nutrition from fresh raw fruits and vegetables, it comes compounded synergistically with hundreds of other ingredients that makes those compounds, calcium or magnesium or other things, substantially more usable within the body. One, because of those synergistic compounds, and two, because it's in a very organic, bioavailable form, whereas what you get in a multivitamin and mineral supplement are isolated, more elemental forms that are lacking substantially to balance those and make them usable within the system. So what most people don't realize is when they consume a multivitamin mineral supplement, the body has to provide from within itself the rest of those compounds necessary to maximize the utilization of those isolated forms of vitamin and minerals that may even come compounded together in a multivitamin and mineral supplement. As that's happening, the body is weakening other areas within the system to get the benefits out of those form of nutrients put into the body. Now, this can provide some short-term benefit. Unfortunately, it could be at the expense of long-term health because you're not providing your body the full spectrum of organic nutritive compounds that your body needs to maintain optimal health.
Well, Yuri, I know that the person listening to this audio right now is extremely excited about the benefits and the potentials that the feast can have an impact on their health and their lives. The question that some might have is, why couldn't I go to the grocery store, load up on lots of vegetables and fruits in bulk, eat my 5 fresh servings per day, possibly even do some juicing? Now, why wouldn't that give me the same benefits, the same nutrition, the same complexes as taking the feast?
Going to the grocery store to try to get the quality and the variety necessary to give your body that array of synergistic organic compounds can be a little bit difficult in two aspects. One, the variety of produce is lacking within the stores as to some of the ingredients that we were providing within the feast that are just not available in stores. Secondarily, the quality of produce within the stores is not near the quality of the produce that we use within the feast. The difference being, in order for the product and the produce that you find in a grocery store to be shelf stable so that it's not going bad by the time you go there to purchase it, that produce has to be picked before it's actually ripened on the vine or the tree so that they can pick it, they can store it in cold storage, be able to transport it, put in additional storage, and be able to have it set out on the shelf and not go bad in that time frame. So they're picking the stuff before it's ripe and trying to let it somewhat ripen in the storage process before they put it on the shelf. Now, unfortunately, this does not provide the produce when it's at its optimal peak of nutrient content. Whereas the produce that we use within the feast, we are scheduling for the produce to be picked when it's ready, when it's ripe, when it's at its peak of nutrient content. So it's harvested, it's washed, it's loaded on our trucks, brought into our facility and processed as it's meant to be, ripened, it's at peak of nutritive content, so that we're providing a quality of produce that is much higher in excess of that the average person can get out of a grocery store.